How's it going, everyone? Hope you didn't browse that website too much, did you? I actually submitted it on a Reddit forum and it got dozens upon dozens of responses that I couldn't catch up with answering, even though it's actually well known that Redditors have been attempting to decipher that site for a few years now. So it's not like it's unknown or anything like that, but to certain subreddits, it probably is. So just pointing that out. I got some interesting things going on today, guys. First and foremost, I don't know if you heard about the newer Mandela effect. It has to do with the White House. Now, many people remember a small dome being just above front center of the White House, including myself. And several YouTubers have come out with a video, including Blaze from Need Input, Hazel Fiverr, and a few others talking about this dome that no longer exists on the top of the White House. And there's residue, including myself right over here. This is the little dome that we're talking about. I got this myself in Washington, D.C. in 2017, so not particularly that long ago. So, having said that, there's other residue discussed on those channels from a Superman movie that came out in 1980, in which Superman brings back the dome from the White House and places it back on top. Either way, I'm going to share that video down below from Need Input by Blaze. And another thing, I haven't showed you guys, I showed this a long time ago on my channel, long time ago, but for newer people, I'm sure you know about the Bible change wolf laying down with the lamb. Well, I have a lion and a lamb, and you can actually still get plenty of lions and lambs online that are for sale, and there's statues and carvings of lions and lambs all around the world still. And why would that be if that's not the case? I just read the Bible passage myself, so I mean, why did they even exist? You ever wonder that? So yeah, I was just really excited when I was working out today and I'm looking at the White House that's in front of my TV and I see this freaking dome on top of it. And I just remember watching Need Input's channel and I'm like, holy cannoli, the dome is there. And granted, I get it, it's a cheap mock up of the White House, but still, it's relatively accurate and well made statuette. So, having said that, this is an interesting synchronicity for me because simultaneously, the night before, I dreamed about the pod people again. This time it was blurry. I couldn't make out too much of what was going on. It was almost like I was like being blocked from seeing clearly, but it was hazy and gray and I couldn't see much, but I could tell that there were remote controlled people that were exiting the pods and that they were doing their Simon Says activities again. And on top of the Simon Says activities again, they were conducting some sort of strange experiments, like tasks, like that you would think of as being like menial tasks of some kind. It was really hard to explain, but they had no control of themselves. They were completely remotely controlled, and they were doing as the group leader was telling them to do, the main scientist, just like I've seen in other dreams. Having said that, um, we discussed in prior videos as to how there's a very distinct possibility that the Earth was destroyed, our original Earth, remember, with the big golden, beautiful sun and the enormous, beautiful, radiant moon with the sun reflecting this amazing light off of the moon, which illuminated the entire sky, and then our clouds in our sky didn't look like they were manufactured and stuff like that. That Earth, so that Earth, might have been destroyed, and we either shifted our consciousness into a very bizarre dimension that makes no sense to the people who came from the prior dimension, and this is just how things work in this dimension. Or what I was shown in the dreams, we shifted into a virtual reality, synthetic, computerized version of the earth, and we are experiencing consciousness and life through this medium. And this kind of gave me a little bit of thought. So, why are we seeing all these newer Mandela effects? That's a big question, as because like if we already shifted, we shouldn't be seeing newer things coming up. It's not like that we haven't noticed them before. These are actually new things, I believe, that are just arising into this reality. So I kind of put the two and two together. It's just a theory. And again, a reminder, I realize how absolutely far fetched and insane this all sounds. I don't care because we question everything on my channel, and that's how we're going to do it here. So we should be questioning everything. So every time that the pod people have to exit the pods, perhaps they reset the VR system. Perhaps the hard drive gets overloaded. Perhaps something in relation to that where they have to basically turn the computer on, off, and on again. Now, you might be thinking, if you have an advanced, let's assume this is an advanced alien race a million years in the future, doing this thing, what kind of silliness? Why would they have to reset anything? Wouldn't it be so advanced that that wouldn't even have to happen? Well, not necessarily. Perhaps they're not as advanced, and maybe they do have an information system overload in their quantum computers that they have to cycle through, and they have to kind of reset and cycle back everything so that the matrix continues functioning fluidly. So you have this situation now where every time the pod people exit and they have to kind of revive themselves a little bit in order to go back in, they reset it, and every time they reset it, we have a new reality change that shows up in the VR system that's more than likely placed in deliberately and purposefully and is not an accident. None of these are accidents. They are there for us, for specific people to notice the changes for whatever experiment of consciousness they're doing. For that very specific reason, this is some kind of an experiment. So, having said that, um, we must have chosen to continue life instead of after the prior world was destroyed. We must have deliberately chosen to continue living. And it might not all be negative in this reality. Like, I know that sounds crazy. Like, it's a VR system. This is crazy. What could be positive about this? But it seems like there are certain things that are brought under control here, sort of. Like, look at how many times we're on the brink of World War III, and how many times we try to predict PedGo 2 and when this kickoff is going to start. And every time we're right on the brink of war, it doesn't start. That could be another experiment in the VR system to see our reaction and things like that. Now, having said that, the people who are noticing these changes, like myself and others, are probably not part of the VR, and we're actually an organic portal in an inorganic VR system, which I don't know how we're able to function here, but somehow perhaps there are modifications made that enabled us to function here. Uh, Having said that, I still think Armageddon will come to the construct here as well. But for the time being, it is very kind of a controlled suffering here. It is a silent suffering amongst the population. We are in pain in the pods, and we are in pain in the reality itself, and it is traumatic. Why this is going on, I don't know. I couldn't tell you guys. But again, it's just a theory. not a fact. I don't think it diminishes our souls really all that much. I think that they are doing this to make, kind of like I was discussing before, make copies, clone copies, which over time will diminish the power of the soul in that being. So that could be another theory going on, which there's been kind of a lot of predictive programming about clones, like I discussed earlier. So the oversoul and the human spirit and the eternal nature hasn't changed. It's just been fractalized and broken up into pieces as a result of this. And now we're trying to put the pieces back together. We're still loved eternally. We're still worth everything to God. It's just an experiment of consciousness that is possible and has to be happening in the context that in the eternal nature of reality, every conceivable possibility exists, including the possibility that this is what we're experiencing right now. So keep that in mind, and keep your mind open. Think outside Saturn's cube. Have a good day.